And for week number 2, I think now Melbourne Order, they want to continue that progress that they had against the Brisbane Deceptors last week.
That's right. They want to pick up where they left off. Obviously, they're stamping their authority on the competition as well. So in that regard, these guys have come in, they're prepared. They now are no longer using their coach. They've got Dumbo in, so they're sporting their full lineup. And Enigma did a great job, by the way. But a few times there, you could tell he was a coach.
Okay, that's fair. That's, again, blunt.
On field, he was a minibus, but in terms of the game...
He was, but we'll find out. And Melbourne Order... This time it's going to be the battle for Melbourne as Avant take to the pitch as well. Klitz, Sammy and Zen. All is experienced, but maybe not in the same roster. For Dumbo now jumping onto the pitch. That's an interesting miss there. Zen comes sweeping through. Game 1. And let's see who sets the tone.
So far, as we said, in this best of 5 series, they really need to sort of sound each other out, see where they're at, see what strategies are being played here by these teams. Who's in form, who's not. And it all gets found out here in this first matchup. So expect people to try a few different things as well as they start to warm into these games. But I mean, from an advanced perspective, it's important they get a good first phase of play going, because younger players like Xanis we spoke about in the analysis, he's a player that really, in terms of the big stage, needs that confidence.
He does. Individual players on Melbourne Avant, some good blocks there, and defense already coming out strong as Melbourne Order bring the ball back down. For Avant, individual players like Zen, they play great by themselves. I want to see that turn into teamwork, like fashion, like clockwork. Sammy, he won't go up for the ball, stays in defense. Melbourne Order relying on that clear. Shady waiting with a great pass to the midfield. Dumbo was waiting there, Express on the other side. Should be an easy defense from Melbourne Order, turns into a pass for Dumbo. Now up again, Blitz intercepts off that backboard, but saved away by Shady.
It wasn't a great touch there at the back. Gave the opening chance there, potentially, to Avant, but it wasn't capitalised on. But in terms of now, what they need to get going, Avant need to get that passing game going. It's important they get that going early on, get the communication right, get themselves in the right positions as well. Good signs from Melbourne Order early on in the piece as they deal with that ball defensively. But, I mean, their passing has been on point so far, bar maybe 1 or 2 mistakes.
They're committing forward, and Melbourne Order getting pushed on defense a little bit here. A little bit more than expected for a side that's come so close to the World Championship right now. Melbourne Avant making short work in game 1 as they wait there. That's a mistouch from Express, but it'll be taken away by Shady. The jump up, now the dribble, but Shady has no boost.
No, unfortunately that's all he can do, the best he can do. Boost is so critical in this game in terms of what it allows you to do for movement, and when you don't have it, sometimes the attacking plays just fizzle out because players unfortunately just don't have anything left in the tank.
Express the pass back. Melbourne Order getting close again, but Sammy, good backboard defense. Shady back over to Dumbo, 2 minutes 30, no goal just yet. Melbourne Avant on the defense here, been able to get out of it before, and a big clear from Sammy will set them up in pace. Shady doesn't get the touch, but Dumbo does. And coming close, they're committing forward in Melbourne Avant, they're setting up for these plays, and Express hits it to the backboard again. The second touch was crucial there, with the pitch out of the corner, no one goes forward. And instead, Melbourne Order have a chance here, but Zen clears it to the right, Dumbo comes back in, the pass to the midfield is not successful, and again, stolen away. Challenges winning by Melbourne Avant.
Yeah, great anticipation from Zen and Sammy there to just not only get themselves in position for that block, but also clear that ball for their team. And you need to get rid of that ball.
Yes.
That is an opening here for Avant, and that's what they needed. Confidence for Zen and confidence for the rest of the team too, because for a lot of this first batch, they've been absorbing a lot of pressure.
But what a moment for Zen. One of the most mechanically proud, let's just call it what it is.
On the prowl.
One of the best mechanical players in OCE.
He's certainly showing it there too, and he's quite a young player too. So, you know, the big stage lights.
Oh no, that's a miss there. Melbourne Order cut it through. And for Melbourne Avant, they've been so good on the defense, but just that one moment, that touch from Sammy, and he's unable to get the second one. Blitz just wasn't expecting Sammy to miss.
No, he was caught flat on his feet there too, but it wasn't a fantastic touch, and a mistake there from Melbourne Avant has let Melbourne Order back into it. So there's a lot on the line, as we said. There's bragging rights. There's also, you know, claiming your hometown. That intra-city rivalry between these two teams, the derby, it's building.
Well, the Chiefs did it last week, but only by a game. Let's see who claims Melbourne for week number 2 of the Elite Series. 1 minute 30. Sammy getting him out of the goal. There's been a solid rate of improvement here for Melbourne Avant. Now in front of net, he pops it up, Sammy, but it's well read by Shady. Zen will hang back for the ball, but this is the runaway for Shady. Plitz doesn't get the touch, and Shady gets one. Nicely done by Melbourne Order.
Yeah, great work from Shady there too, because a lot of that, he actually operated without boost. So he was just simply using that flip function to get himself into position and just turning himself quickly over the ball. So great work from him there. Gets the lead for Melbourne Order, and for Melbourne Avant, they need to find an answer, because they're a team that, as we said, the pressure, if it starts to build on them, they don't have the experience to cope with these conditions just yet.
You have to think a player like Zen, still feeling comfortable even at this stage. He's got quite a lot of experience on the field now. With a minute remaining, the ball in front of net, that's the miss. Zen back in time.
Wow.
Bit of nerves getting to Melbourne Avant, because they're still a goal behind, but they survive for now. That ball goes straight through the midfield, but Sammy brings it back down to their cause. 45 seconds. Now going to try and fashion an EU clear. Not too successful as Express is there. Off the right wing from the midfield. Now the demo on Sammy. That slows things down as Melbourne Avant, I think, not in a good position. Plitz goes over the ball, and this just gives more freedom to Melbourne Order. Issues arise in game one. Just might be all she wrote.
Might be, but I mean, unless Avant can find themselves an answer here in that next 22 seconds left in play, and it could be a break here away. That second touch is crucial, but it couldn't be made, as Dumbo does a good job of just making sure he gets up for that defense as well. So a lot of pressure on Avant here. I just don't think they're going to have the answer just yet. But Rocket League, as we said, it's a super dynamic game, and anything can happen in these couple of seconds. But Avant, not enough here in game number one.
And defense is there. Melbourne Order, they come through, with 2 solid goals. And I have to say, for Melbourne Order, we saw a much more convincing win last week. Just shows the testament, the skill to Avant Gaming.
I mean, look at that scoreboard right there. Shady, 5 shots, 2 goals. He's getting into the right areas. That passing is setting them up so nicely as well. In terms of what Dumbo's contributing as well, he's getting shots off, but it's also that midfield play from Dumbo that's quite decisive in that piece, and it's creating a lot of opportunity for them. And there we have Melbourne Avant here, getting that opening goal. Zen, confidence booster for him, relieves a lot of pressure for him too.
Yep. Melbourne Avant, I think that was such a solid start, but it's just unfortunate. A couple of mistouches, and that one in particular was just bad luck by Melbourne Avant. They go past the ball, and again, Plitz just wasn't expecting that ball to go through. And now for Melbourne Order, they have that momentum swing. Game one goes over to them. So we talk about progression in the series and making sure that you're always in the right head, always in the right mentality. Moving into game number 2, there were good moments there from Melbourne Avant. They just have to, again, shore things up.
Yeah, there were good early signs of life from them in that regard, but we sort of write game one off a little bit sometimes in terms of, getting yourself the right position.
A lot of the time, yeah.
And in a best of 5 series, you can really work yourself into the match if you get yourself off to a good start here in game 2. So game 2 is going to be a teller for at least Melbourne Avant as to whether or not they've made those small tweaks, those changes, made sure that their passing is on point. The communication at times may have lapsed just a little bit in those crucial moments, but it's a chance for them now to just set that record straight, get themselves back into this series.
Infield passes coming through strong for Melbourne Avant. Sammy takes the ball himself, and Shady will go for the first save, or first clear as well. Blitz brings it back, and beating them out to the ball seems to be what Melbourne Avant are good at. For Zen, Sammy, back over to Blitz, he swings through. This one's going to go sideways. Sammy, a very dangerous clear away, but one nonetheless. Melbourne Avant hold on. Another opportunity. Sammy hits it with his boot. And the centre there, but Shady, it's a little bit wide for him. He won't get the ideal touch, and it'll be left for Express as he's just trying to set it up for Dumbo. Melbourne Avant, okay on the defense for now, but for how long? Dumbo comes in, no intercept as Zen regains control of the ball.
And Zen just looking for that pass to a teammate. Nice double touch there. Didn't quite get it past the defender though, and immediately counter pressure being put on the goal here by Melbourne Order. Can they convert it? Yes, they can. Great touch onto the backboard there. Off the crossbar, Express converts, and Melbourne Order are on the board.
Pretty clean stuff there as Melbourne Order get the counter-attack initiated immediately after Zen plays with the ball. And first goal, only over a minute, and Melbourne Order swinging, but they're not missing.
It's super frustrating for a team too, because they had the run of play, they had a lot of things going right for them, and just in that moment things swung. The pendulum swung the other way for them, and unfortunately they go down a goal after building themselves into this match for the first minute or so quite nicely. So they need to get themselves back in the right headspace, because they've been doing the right things. Their passing's been good, but they just need that shot conversion now.
There's an opportunity. Speak of passing, and Plitz to Sammy now for Zen, the final mark. will not be left. The counter-attack again.
Oh.
That one just hits the crossbar. It'll bounce back down. But still the pressure added, and Melbourne Avant, they're taking risks. They're pushing up. Dumbo comes close with the shot, but goes wide, and Express will just bring it back to Shady, who has a great angle.
Wow.
The setup from Melbourne Order continues to impress.
Yeah, Shady is looking so lethal in front of goals in this series. As we said in the first match, he had 5 shots and 2 goals to his name. And in this particular matchup too, he's already been quite lethal for them. So, I mean, you can't let a player like Shady, he was down here, he was confident in the pre-match interview, and that confidence is radiating now onto the field.
Dumbo, it's been a good initiation game, or series rather, to get him back into Rocket League here on the Gfinity stage. And Shady setting up so many of these balls. Splits the passes over to Sammy. This will work out well, but Dumbo's back in position. Express steals the ball away. Zen is bumped and tries to recover, but a little bit too late. Blitz the last line of defense as Express comes through with the dribble. Shady now participating as well off that back wall, and they just have so much control. The passes coming out of Melbourne Order just so much quicker, so much more swift. Melbourne Avant struggling to keep up. Zen trying to keep it in the air. Opportunity now. Sammy gets it through. Melbourne Avant finally get one on the board.
Melbourne Avant also now with that goal remind Melbourne Order that they are there. They're still here, they're still in this match, they've been doing right things. As we said, there was just a few moments where unfortunately they couldn't capitalise, or they've been punished for some mistakes with that counterplay, but Melbourne Avant now working themselves back into this match. Plenty of time to work with.
Yep.
They just need to keep doing what they're doing, and it's working for them. The passing play is quite good. Blitz is getting himself into the right areas as well. Silent Assassin here in Semi, who's been doing a lot of the build-up work.
Remember, they commit hard, so if Melbourne Avant, the play doesn't come through, there's a big risk that Melbourne Order just turn this one around. Coming out of the corner, Dumbo gets a dribble, but Zen intercepting again. This is what we like to see. Blitz moves up. Hits the wall, but 2 minutes 10 remaining. Still that 1 goal advantage on that backboard. It comes close, and Dumbo goes for the bouncer. The finisher from Express, and 1 step ahead as usual.
Those passes onto the backboard are just so hard to read, to defend. You can see there Zen, he was already going the wrong direction. So unfortunately for him, there's not a lot he could do in terms of adjustments. He couldn't anticipate that, and that ball just fell so nicely in front of goal. Melbourne Order have completely capitalised on it.
Well, 3-1. And they've capitalised on this series to start things off. Another shot, Sammy blocks out of the way, but again going in for those challenges. This time Melbourne Order feeling confident. A big change from game number 1. Blitz hanging back and waiting for Zen to come through, leave his mark. Blitz goes for the bump onto Express, but he dodges it, manages to recover and gets it out of the way. 145.
Navan doing a great job of stringing some good Rocket League together in patches. The problem is you need to string 5 solid minutes of Rocket League together against the team.
Oh, what a shot from Sammy. Reads the bounce perfectly. And that was a pinch between Dumbo and Zen, and Sammy just comes down, commits forward. Anyway, remember, Melbourne Avant, they'll send everyone up. It'll be a high risk, but there's the high reward.
That's a sniped goal as well. That's from the half field away.
Yeah.
And it's super smart as well. He just saw that opening, capitalised on it, and they get themselves back into this match. And as we were saying, they've strung some good Rocket League together, but it's only been in patches. They need to string a lot more of it together to be able to take on a team like Melbourne Order. And if they can work themselves back into this match for that next minute and 16, they play as well as they have been in patches, they'll certainly make it really difficult for Melbourne Order to hold on to that lead.
And such a standout there. Gets the Saviour medal, well deserved. Blocked out 2 of those shots in 1 sitting. And now for Zen, playing in the air just how he likes it. From the corner, that'll be a great bounce if Sammy wants to commit up, but Dumbo's already there. Blitz waiting down underneath Express, but no one's hit it. Shady, actually a bit of medal affair there from Melbourne Order. It's an opportunity, but 50 seconds. Time still running out. Melbourne Avant have to get this ball out of here. Right in front of net. Good save away from Zen as well. Shady leaves it to the right wing. He's going to try and dribble this one in. Shady off the roof to dunk down, but Sammy again with a good read.
Yeah, Melbourne Avant are so compressed at the back right now. You can see all 3 players just sitting around that back third. There's not a lot they can do at the moment, but just trying to absorb that defence. And
Sammy, so dangerous.
Yeah, do not play with your food, particularly in front of goal.
No, Shady tries to swing it in. 20 seconds remaining. They might have just done enough. Melbourne Order have kept it down here, so one last play, potentially Express. Dumbo gives him the old piggyback.
Yeah, Dumbo was just trying to work that ball into the right area, and that call came through from Express here. Leave it, I've got the great line, and there we go. Express doing the goods. It's been Shady that's been super effective in front of goal, but don't discount Express. He's been doing a lot of work in that build-up play, and him and Shady are actually working really well in getting those passing plays going.
Well, Linnell's been hammered in game number 2 with that nice pitch off the side.
Ouch.
Dumbo making short work. Melbourne of order, yeah. Melbourne have shown order, but Melbourne have also taken the goal by 3 leads.
And I know that's a pinch, but it looked more like a punch because that was quite a quick goal. You can see he just got that extra speed off the sidewall, and that's what we call a pinch. So it flew quite nicely into the back of the net, and Melbourne order, confidence surely for these guys is going to be brimming now. They're coming into that 3rd game. They're 2-0. They just need that final nail in the coffin, as you said, to finish things off here.
Well, they've done it in game 2. See if game 3 is any different, because Melbourne order putting on a showing here. And there was so many highlights from Melbourne Avant. Like there were some good goals that came out, and I think there was some surprising moments.
Holy smokes, look at those shots on goal.
On order. That is incredible. 14 shots on goal, if you couldn't do the math right there. There was 7 from Avant Gaming, though, so game 3 is always going to change things up a little.
Yeah, it wasn't as though Avant weren't doing the right things. They were certainly doing the right things. They were patching some good Rocket League together. The thing is, as I said, you need to string 5 minutes of solid Rocket League against a favoured opponent like Melbourne Order.
Yep.
And to be able to overcome them in that particular instance, it's difficult for an inexperienced team to be able to deliver in that amount of pressure. But they did a good job.
Well,
wasn't enough though.
Look, they're both experienced teams. Let's be honest here. With Melbourne Avant, they've been a trio for quite a while now. I know Plitz and Zen, they've been together for a while, and Sammy's been the newest addition. And it's kind of synced up. They're still a top 8 team in OCE, and for Melbourne Order, it's just getting there first. But a lot of the time there were mistakes, so Melbourne Avant, I've got to give it to them. The gap doesn't look that big.
No, in terms of how that actually played out, it bled out a lot at the end, to be honest, because for a lot of that match, it was sitting at the, 1 goal of difference, 2 goal of difference. 2 goal lead in Rocket League is not a significant margin. A 2 goal lead can easily be overcome by a quick goal and you're back in the match. So momentum can certainly swing in this game, and these guys have done a great job of just piling on and capitalising on a lot of mistakes. It was just a few mistakes from Avant, particularly in front of goal, and when your conversion rate is so high like Melbourne Orders was, you're gonna concede goals.
But 2 very different teams here. I think this is a very different matchup, and although it's 2-0 again, game 3 will kind of set alight the series or close it out. However, we are going to throw to a quick break, and when we return, game 3 will be upon us.
Welcome back to the Gfinity Elite Series. Here we are looking at a goal from that last game. I think we're seeing Express get an awesome goal, some amazing teamwork from the Melbourne Order. This is the Gfinity Elite Series presented by Alienware. Can Avant win it back? We're going to find out in just a sec. Right now, let's check in with my co-host Ashley Wells, who is backstage in the warm-up room. Over to you, Ash.
Hey, how's it going? I'm just here with Kodo from the Brisbane Deceptors. Unfortunately, you guys lost your match last week. How are you guys planning on bringing it back against Chiefs today?
So we've been practicing pretty hard all week, so I reckon we're just going to go out there, try play a game and just do our best.
Do you have any picks? Is there any way that you see the game playing out today?
I reckon it'll be a close series, but I reckon we can take it 3-2.
Oh, nice prediction there. And what about when you are warming up? What kind of drills do you go through when you're on the computer down here in the warm-up room?
So mainly we just do custom training, but we try and get a feel for the game by just going around in free play for the most part.
Nice. All right. Well, I won't take your time up too much longer. I'll let you get back to warming up. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
Back to you, Luke.
Thank you, Ash. Can Avant get this back, Tom?
I mean, technically the answer is yes, but probably not so much. I think a large factor from that is that Plitz isn't really on his A game today. He pretty much walked away at the end of that series having nothing on the scoreboard, and as the only player on their team that has actual LAN experience, it's a bit upsetting.
It is a bit upsetting, isn't it? I really would love to go to 5. I'd love to go to 5, but we'll find out. Let's get back into gameplay. Over to you, Jake and Jim, for Game 3 of Melbourne Avant versus Melbourne Order.
Thanks as always, gents, and welcome back. Game 3 is upon us, and I have to say, for Melbourne Avant, I do not think this is over yet. Courier says maybe that's just going to be it. Maybe it is going to be another 3-0, but Melbourne Avant, they've got one thing up their sleeve. Let me tell you, it's Zen. Zen is a mechanical trickster who plays a lot of solo and a lot on his stream.
And a lot of Rocket League.
He's a famous streamer, right? So I'm not going to hold that above his head, but Zen is just an absolute god at times. So let's find out.
He's looking quite comfortable too there. I think that's the big difference between this week and last week is the fact that he's a little bit more comfortable in his surroundings. But I mean, I hate being, caught on technicalities. And I mean, Tom, yeah, it's a technicality. They could get themselves back into this. But I mean, I'm going to expect a more concentrated effort from Avant in terms of getting themselves into that match. They played really well. They did a lot of things right.
What a pass, though, to start things off. Crossbar, though, in the way. And I know for this matchup, if you go for Melbourne, you can't lose, so I think there's some optimism. But for Dumbo, comes close, and that's just the start you want for Melbourne Order. The drop. Plitz is there. I want to see him step up. Zen has been playing an okay game, but it's been about Plitz. Now in front of net, Dumbo will take the shot, but goes wide. A good pass to Express. We'll have to run after it. Sammy committing up for the ball, but he doesn't get it. The pass down, it comes to a standstill. That's not what you want to see, but Dumbo will cement it in.
Dumbo just capitalising there on some concerted pressure there. The 2 touches there meant the ball fell really nicely for him in front of goal. Caught everybody off guard from Melbourne Avant, and that is so nicely placed as well into the net. It's not easy to do that when you're running onto that ball or just driving onto that ball and hitting that ball into the top corner with such precision.
Yep.
That's been the order for Melbourne Order, is the fact that they've been so decisive in front of goals, and these little opportunities, they capitalise on every single one of them seemingly.
But right now they're avant-garde on the side of blue, and Zen will be walking forward, but Plitz intercepts an opportunity for Melbourne Avant. Express comes in off the wing, the ball goes down, Plitz on the chase, and will have to be a defensive recovery. Express, he's run out of boost. One kind of hope now, but Order have just been given the ball again. Plitz in front of net, Sammy for the recovery, and Melbourne Avant, they're getting shut out. 3:45, but already the game has just taken the same turn. A challenge in the midfield. Melbourne Order still retain control, and Dumbo will bring it back down. Express, Shady, just hanging back with the ball. Solid rotations are making this easier and easier. And now for Dumbo, the old Dunkaroo.
Despite some early miscommunications there in the midfield when 2 players going up for the same ball from the same team from Melbourne Order, they recovered it quite nicely here. And that centred ball, Dumbo, he loves these opportunities. He gets gifted them and he capitalises so much. And already this one for Melbourne Order is off to a cracking start. They've got themselves a nice little buffer here, but there is another shot on goal. You can see now they're playing very direct. The passing play, not so much necessary in these early instances, particularly when opportunities present themselves like that.
But look at that, I was talking about solid rotations, and with Melbourne Order, one takes a shot, one sets up. The other 2, they'll rotate back, and Express will be the 3rd one to come forward. It's just so clinical, whereas Melbourne Avant, they have to commit everything here. And I think it's just that difference right now. 2-0 is the start. For Sammy, just doesn't have any boost to follow the play. Dumbo with the long-range pass over to Shady. An intercept's good from Blitz, but Express will just manage to get the ball again. Or maybe not. Then again, the player to watch.
There we go. Just a nice little breakaway play from him as well. Blitz there, nice touch. Puts it right in front of Zen. Backboard touch as well, and that is nicely put into the back of net. That one could have been very difficult to manage, and he's done the right job. He's got above the ball as well. Not easy to do, and make sure that ball goes into the back of the net because, I mean, a more... let's just say a less mechanically gifted player could potentially squander a chance like that.
Yeah, absolutely, but not Zen. Zen has been pretty solid. Flits up for the ball. It's a good pass from Zen, actually. The defense from Melbourne Order struggling to deal with it a little bit. As Express loses out to Sammy, these challenges starting to win over the side of Melbourne Avant. Now in front of net, Zen comes forward. We're looking for the last link. That's Blitz. He angles it in. Sammy for the finisher. A great save there from Shady. He's been stepping up. Zen has another crack, but Melbourne Order managed to retain this 2-1 advantage.
Just not enough venom on that shot, unfortunately. It seemingly just bobbled in front of the net. And nice backward play there.
Blitz.
They need to convert that.
Net. He goes wide and the counterattack's there. They'll get the demo, they'll slow things down, but for Melbourne Avant, opportunities coming up.
For me, Blitz is always the measuring stick for Avant. How well he's playing and how involved he is, because of his experience, for me, just tells me exactly where they're at. If he's not getting involved much, as you said in the first game there, he's not getting too many touches, particularly shots on goal, it means that they're not particularly having a good game either. So from Zen's perspective, he has a lot of work to do, but if Blitz is firing as well, it really combines quite well, and Sammy obviously rounds things out for them, and now they need to work themselves back into this match. It's 2-1, and that is not going to help. Dumbo just read that so nicely. It fell for him. There was nobody at home. The defense was only just getting themselves out, and mistouch there potentially.
Look, just the intercept. Sammy was getting to the ball and Dumbo read it better. Again, getting to the ball first has been so important today, and it's kind of been the decider in a lot of these games.
That's right. They spent a long time in defence. They didn't have the boost to get to that ball quickly either, and they got punished for it. Great anticipation from Dumbo in that instance, and they're playing so confidently in front of goal here, Melbourne Order, and it's really the difference between the two of them. I'm keen to see these shots on goal again because they're just creating chance after chance.
Nice pop up there from Melbourne Order. Still a minute 15, and with that 2-goal advantage in their back pocket once again, it's going to be a struggle for Melbourne Avant. Seeing what they can do. It was on the back of Zen, that individual play, but the passing's just not coming through as much. Zen, they'll run into each other. The double commit hurts them, and Melbourne Order, they're going to get a chance to push through. Sammy's for the rotate back, but the pass goes wide. There's 50 seconds left in game number 1. Sammy with the pass. Blitz, who's on target. Zen comes in as well. Remember, they're all commit forward, and slow rotations back means that Sammy's going to be at a wide angle. He should be able to knock it for Blitz, and the centre's there, but Zen, the communication. Someone just needs to take the shot. Melbourne Avant, they miss out on another opportunity.
Yeah, again, that's just that conversion rate punishing them there. Just miscommunication, as you said. No one's really stepping up and wanting to take those chances. Someone needs to take that shot, and I mean, someone once famously quoted, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Well, that's very much true here for Avant. They need those shots to work themselves back into the match, but unfortunately, time is running out.
Well, time has run out, Gymnast, so I think for Melbourne Order, they've managed to secure themselves another 3-0, and that's a 3-0 for week 2. They didn't get one last week, but right now, Melbourne Order will be pretty happy with that win. Melbourne Avant showcased some of their skill, but game number 3 ends, and a 3-0 goes to Melbourne Order in the second series.
Yeah, it was quite a convincing win too there from Melbourne Order. You can see that. It's just another day at the office for them in that regard. They're quite happy with how they performed too. But look at those shots. Dumbo, 6 shots, 3 shots for Shady. Express even getting 2 shots in there, but there wasn't really too much from Melbourne Avant, at least in terms of creation as well. You could tell a few times there was opportunities, but nobody wanted to take it. And for me, as I said, that's the telling sign of a team that may have just lost their rhythm a little bit. They'll certainly be able to work on it though.
I think as well, it's a showcase of Melbourne Order here. So not to take anything away from Melbourne Avant, there's growth, there's a lot of potential in the roster, there always has been, but for Melbourne Order, it's just that clinical play that we're used to seeing from them. They're one of the best squads in OC.